Welcome to my channel, where there are interesting and equally sensational stories. Listen to today's story. Discover mom's affair with business partner. Basically what the title says. My parents have been together for 30 years and have 3 children. They had the best marriage I've ever seen. I live with my significant other, but I'm freshly out of college. My younger brother found text messages between my mom and her partner. He sent them to me, and I confronted her. She was devastated that we knew and said it had been a short non-emotional fling for a few months in 2015. Then they were considering starting it back up. I told her she needs to tell my dad because my little brother can't deal with having this on his conscience. To be honest, neither can I. I'm so distraught. My mom and her business partner were both married with children. The business was very family style. I interned with him several times. This whole time, it was happening under my own nose. I was seeing them in weekly meetings, and I never knew. My mom was my best friend. I am so worried for my father and my family. If I'm being honest and selfish, I just feel like I was betrayed by the most important person in the world to me. We had their family over for birthday parties, barbecues, etc. I feel like she made me complicit in her cheating. I should have known. She's trying to put off telling my dad I gave her the weekend and her business, affair partner, and I talked. He begged me not to tell. I told him he can tell his wife, or I will. I'm so heartbroken. I don't know what advice I need, but thanks for reading my rant. Update. I'm not really sure how to make sure everyone that wanted one gets an update on this. But here's my most recent update here. Thank you for all your kind words, advice, and awards. I never expected to find so much support and a few crazy trolls in this sub. It helped me through the really hard time. My thoughts go out for anyone who is living in a similar situation. Update. My mom told my dad and her business partner told his wife. I gave her 3 days after I found out. Some of you wanted me to paint the city red and destroy my mom's life as well as my own. I don't hate my mom, and she doesn't deserve to be publicly crucified. I felt that the information should come from her, not from me. Obviously, my dad was answered all appropriate feelings here. He was even more disappointed that my brother and had gotten dragged into this. He assured us that he loves us, and this will not change our relationship, which I was a bit worried about because we've been historically closer to mom. My mom knows what she did was horrible. She's begging for forgiveness and doing everything right. I am taking some time away from talking to her. I believe my brother and father are also taking some time alone to think. Everyone is seeking individual therapy and couple or family counseling is in the near future. I don't know if my parents will stay together, but I do know they are both hesitant to throw out a 30-year relationship. I believe my mom told the truth as I still have and made clear. I was willing to show all evidence. This has been so hard for my family and will continue to be as we will all work through a pretty traumatic situation. Thank you for all the kind words and support. I would advise to honestly not put too much into Reddit because it did get some ridiculous suggestions. But in a moment of loneliness and desperation, I really appreciated the messages. Edit. I also don't know what's going on with the business. I believe our partner is supposed to resign. If not, I'm assuming he will take a much smaller role in running the company. That's still an extremely tense point for me, but I have no say in it right now. Our first response comes from Alternative Wing 922. They both were considering starting the affair again. Sorry to say she's the only star she got caught. She didn't think about her kids, her husband, or her marriage of 30 years when she wanted to start the affair up again. The same can be said for her fair partner. He's a pathetic coward who begged you not to say anything. He didn't want to face his consequences for his crappy actions. They're only sorry they were caught. If you really regretted it, wouldn't have been wanting to start it back up again. If their partnership resigned, they both need to have no contact with each other, no matter how small. Our next response comes from Scary Inspector 8315. Their mother was hoping to start the affair anew. Now she doesn't know she did something horrible. A cheater will never know the destruction they unleashed on the cheated person and the other people involved. Fact is, she would have cheated again if you and your brother didn't catch her and force her to come out with it. To your grits being caught only. Sorry, but your mother is a piece of crap. Hope your father and little brother are well. Kind of stuff does screw up with the head of people, and there is no coming back to normal. Soggy 2009 chimes in with I agree with the others that said that the only thing that your mother is sorry about is that she got caught. The affair partner business partner has to be bought out of the business or nothing is ever going to be resolved. This is the most destructive and awkward mix of crap that could ever happen to anyone. I hope that your father can heal from this convoluted mess of betrayal. Good luck to you and your brother and your dad. But for the grace one wants to add to the conversation, you realize that cheaters always minimize. Your mom characterized as a short, non-emotional fully in 2015. Consider the emotional truth she's trying to get you to accept as reality. Your mom is a married woman with children. She has a business partner who is himself a married man. You are out of college, which suggests your family is likely in some version of upper middle class. I'm assuming the business has been successful enough to support both families, pay part, or all of college, etc. Bottom line is that your mom is an intelligent, hardworking, shrewd woman. Now consider the levels of falsehood your mother and the affair-burner had to engage in to carry on a sexual affair in this context. Under the noses of the respective spouses and all their combined children, and keep it secret for at least 7 years, possibly longer. Think about how many times your mother looked at your father in the eye or the affair partner's wife or you and told you she would be doing X when in reality, choose with the affair partner. Now consider married adults who are business partners aware of the risks choosing to have sex. They make this choice because of strong feelings of attraction for each other. So strong that their families and their business stability could be damned. That doesn't come out of a vacuum. That's not the father of a short, non-emotional flame. That's burning through caution of the wind, passion. Then she says they were considering starting it back up. I call BS. I think the safe conclusion is that they have been engaged in some level of infidelity continuously for at least 7 years. You say your parents have been together with 30. That's approaching 25% of their marriage. Your mom has been unfaithful to your dad. Cheaters lie and minimize. Your mom and her affair partner are both affair partners and business partners. It's almost certain they have discussed many times what they would say to their respective families if when caught. The story they are telling is likely more fiction than reality. It's likely your mom has already gone on a deleting spree with respect to her phone and other communication devices. I would urge you to reach out to the family of the care partner and work with them quickly to restore as much of the truth as possible. Without the truth, all of you will live your lives with the lurking, lingering knowledge that your mom has been chronically dishonest with you about this fundamental reality that is shaping the very foundations of your family. Consider the levels of betrayal. This is a triple-decker betrayal. Your mom betrayed her husband, her family, her business. If the affair partner's wife was a friend, that's a 4th level. Only the most object narcissist would do this and then attempt to uncut to minimize it as a short, non-emotional flame. There is a gender aspect to this, I should also mention. You see it discussed a lot on infidelity forums that in general, men are more hurt by the physical aspects of the wife's affair, but women are more hurt by the emotional aspects of a husband's affair. As I said above, cheaters always minimize. Women who cheat almost always try to insist that it was emotionless or meaningless or just sex. They say this because from their own point of view, that would make it hurt less. But, of course, from a man's point of view, this makes it worse. You betrayed me and you didn't even have emotions with the guy. Just want another man inside of you because it wasn't enough. That is the husband's conclusion from this. I say this because your mother's narcissism runs deep. If it was emotionless, it's her first salvo. Clearly, she has regret her out being caught, but she has no true remorse, which is grounded in empathy, meaning she would try to understand the feelings of her husband and family. On to the next story. Am I crazy, or has my mom lost the plot? 2 years ago, my high school sweetheart wife of 5 years, together 15, cheated on me with her trainer at the gym. It's a tale as old as time. I know. I had no idea. So naturally, I was floored. And with the help of this sub and tons of therapy began a long process of putting my life back together without her and moving on. Thank God, no kids were involved. I'm in a serious relationship now, and things are going great. I haven't had any social media in 5 years. Thank God for that, especially during the pandemic. Cut to last week. I get a screenshot from a friend of mine saying, "Isn't that your mom? Why would you write that?" The picture is of my ex-wife and her affair partner celebrating their 2-year anniversary, and my mom wrote, "Happy for you." Ex-wife's name with a heart emoji. What the F? So I thought about it for a bit, called my mom, and her explanation was that she wrote that so she could forgive her and move on in her heart. I told her that isn't completely insane and that it not only hurt me, it's humiliating. My question is that even remotely acceptable? I feel completely betrayed. Thank you for the replies. I appreciate every one of you. A small update. My dad called, and he's pissed at her also. He said that my mom didn't know it was the same guy, if that mattered. To me, it doesn't make it any better. She didn't know it wasn't him either, but that's besides the point. A first reaction from moms are so bizarre on Facebook. They have no idea how normal people act on Facebook. One lady P has another thought. Someone died and my mom posted a broken heart with a crying laughing face. Screw Facebook moms. Scarred to rebrum once they get in on this. Well, I can get that someone would mix up the crying laughing emoji and the actual crying one. One still shouldn't be replying to the news of someone's death with just emojis. Cosmos Winter has a thought. Your mother should really block your ex-wife and move on. It is humiliating to you. Obviously, someone else thought so too, which is why your friend pointed it out. I would ask your mother to cut all ties with your ex. You don't need updates on your ex's life and reminders. Right now, your ex is still affecting your life, all because your mom is still connected to her. It's time for your mom to move on. Reasonable Divide 48 says. I wrote, like, 300 words here before I realized my thoughts boil down to. It's not her place to re-give your ex for a wrong. It was done to you. Last thought before moving on comes from Etek. No. Why is she even in her SM? You're right to feel betrayed. She's supposedly in your corner. It's like she's saying that she's happy that your ex cheated on you. She can forgive your ex, but not to the point of publicly supporting her relationship with the affair partner. Moving on. My ex-partner stalked as affair partner, and she is now threatening a restraining order. My live-in partner of several years had an affair for a few months that got out of hand. I caught him at her house, and it resulted in her contacting me because he had lied about who I was, where he lived and our family together. Anyways, he convinced her that I was so mentally unsound that I didn't accept that we had broken up. All the while, he was living in my house with his kid and my kids. She and I had a nice long conversation about what was going on, and she claims she was going no contact with him. He begged, pleaded, promised the world if I would take him back. She works for a company that contracts with his business. He wanted to control the situation and started sending her flowers, calling her constantly. Showing up at her work, calling her work, and generally stalking. Well, she has now decided she has had enough and is threatening a restraining order. This sucks. I am so angry and just needed to vent. Years with him, me taking care of his kid, paying all the bills, and he stalks a 3-month affair partner. The first reactions from CA Girl 17. Please tell me he is out of the house now. Terser 78 thinks post history indicates this relationship has been toxic for a while. Your partner has untreated mental health issues. You would do well to get as far away as you can. Pereira 1955 says, aren't you thinking of taking him back, aren't you? Let this cheater now. Our last thought comes from exactly Yoda Spinks. Leave him. He sucks. Also, Wanted to say my uncle did this, and a woman got her restraining order against him, which he then violated and ended up in jail. And uncle had been married about 20 years at the time. Well, not stuck around under the 5 years or so, and he continued to be disinterested in her and eventually asked for a divorce. She did not want and tried to talk him out of it. She is still hanging on to him, and it sucks to watch. In their case, it just wasn't working or right anymore. And I know she'd be much happier if she could look beyond to all the blessing and opportunities and wonderful humans ahead of her. Don't put yourself through this anymore. He doesn't deserve you at all. I hope you find great happiness and a wonderful partner in the future. He is not the one.